Frontier made a mistake. But it's not this one. Frontier Developments is in trouble, and this Hammond statue might be the first sign that, as a result, Jurassic World Evolution 2 is in trouble as well. From a completely new attraction to a single statue. Can we expect to see a similar downgrade in effort in future free updates? This video is going to be a discussion about the Frontier layoffs, the statue controversy, the future of Jurassic World Evolution 2, and the mistake that Frontier keeps making that is hurting us all, I think. I recommend putting this video on in the background and listening along, or join the discussion in the comment section down below. While you're on your way down, consider subscribing to the channel to stay up to date on Jurassic World Evolution 2. As I was busy playing nurse to a very sick little bunny, Frontier announced significant cost-cutting measures in the face of lacking profit, including some massive layoffs. A Video Games article reports, UK studio Frontier Developments announced an organizational review on October 17, 2023 to deliver enhancements to Frontier's leadership and structure, drive efficiencies across the company, and achieve a reduction in annual operating costs of up to 20%. These cost reductions will be delivered through a recruitment freeze, spending cuts, and unfortunately, redundancies subject to constant. And before we continue this discussion in any way, the obvious must be said. No matter what these layoffs mean for us as fans of Jurassic World Evolution 2, first and foremost, and to a scale that doesn't even compare, this is horrible for those employees who are losing their jobs, especially right around the holidays. These people are being let go of through no fault of their own. They weren't bad employees who didn't do their job right, who deserve to be fired. They are delayed victims of the pandemic and victims of the current economy, and it's a sad thing. I hope that they will all soon find a new place to work and continue with a successful career. The rest of this video, while it will focus on how it affects us, does not minimize the fact that those employees losing their jobs are the real people suffering from this unfortunate development. Please keep that in mind and be mature and sympathetic if you want to partake in this discussion. I think as consumers, we tend to see companies as one big faceless impersonal thing, and especially when we have our gripes with the product that that company puts forth, we see a company as this homogeneous, villainous blob. When in reality, a company just consists of a lot of people, most of which invested in what they do, passionate about what they put out there, and they're just trying to do their best under the constraints of upper management and budget cuts. Okay, that out of the way, let's discuss how this affects us. Now, I am late to this discussion. This news came out weeks ago, but during a period when I wasn't producing a lot of content because my pet was very sick. So you might think, why talk about it now? Hasn't the ship sailed? Well, I wasn't going to talk about it, but then on Wednesday something happened, or rather, didn't happen, that sparked my interest in the topic again and reignited my frustration with one of Frontier's key mistakes, which I will talk about more later. Now that Frontier is in a financial rough spot and expecting to run the entirety of financial year 2024 at a loss instead of profit, it makes sense to focus on big moneymakers. And at face value, that is Jurassic World Evolution 2. It is their biggest selling game to date. All that paints a rosy picture of the future for the game. Frontier needs to maximize profits, and if they do that by churning out more and more content for our favorite game, then we as fans would be golden. It would be a secure future for the game. That was definitely how I looked at it. Unfortunately, I overlooked a very important factor. Rudy Rencamel did a similar video to this one discussing Frontier's troubles and how this affects Planet Zoo, which is the game that his channel is focused on. As I watched that video, he opened my eyes to an important fact. While Jurassic World Evolution 2 is their biggest game, it comes at a price. We don't know what percentage, but knowing Universal, a substantial amount of earnings goes directly to Universal for the use of the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World IP. Possibly if you were to subtract the licensing fees from the sales, Jurassic World Evolution 2 wouldn't be earning Frontier as much money as their own IP Planet Zoo. That might dictate what Frontier will focus on moving forward as they are downsizing their teams. Planet Zoo might sell a little less than Jurassic World Evolution 2, but at least they get 100% of the profit. So if a company consisting of less than 800 people is going to lose anywhere between 50 and 200 employees, resources become limited. You only have so many hands to work on your projects, and it makes sense to focus your workforce on whichever game makes you the most profit. Planet Zoo might be that game. Continued support and a potential Jurassic World Evolution 3 that we discussed on the channel a while ago seem a lot less likely within that context. That is not to say that the game will definitely be discontinued after the upcoming DLC. And, by the way, just as a reminder, we know for sure that there is at least one more DLC coming. We're talking about the future of the game beyond that, as well as the free updates coming to the game. And that brings me to the John Hammond statue for the 2nd year anniversary. For the 1st year anniversary, we got a brand new attraction, so it is a massive downgrade in comparison. And speaking of comparisons, Planet Zoo received a whole new animal for its anniversary just last week, as it has gotten a new animal for every single one of its anniversaries. This feels like the first sign that Jurassic World Evolution 2 is drawing the short straw, that it's not Frontier's favorite child, and that the game and us as fans will suffer as a result. The common reception to this gift, that of being underwhelmed and disappointed, is understandable. People were expecting either an attraction or a single dinosaur, namely Microceratus. Those are perfectly normal expectations to have had, no matter what some people want to claim. It's not unreasonable to have thought that Frontier's biggest game would get a substantial anniversary gift, comparable to last year, comparable to what they do for Planet Zoo. It's not unreasonable that people didn't expect for Frontier to dial back the amount of effort spent on the game to such a degree. But that does appear to be the case. Adding a new attraction or a new species would have been a significant time commitment from various different team members. This statue looks like a one-person job, and they've done a fine job, I'm not downplaying that, but clearly from a department-wide standpoint, a lot less effort went into this. And I don't blame the team for that. They are working with the constraints of budget cuts and upper management breathing down their necks. But I do think it paints a kind of bleak picture for Jurassic World Evolution 2 moving forward. Is this the amount of effort we can expect from future free updates? The free updates for the game have oftentimes been better than the paid content. A lot of work went into those free updates to improve the game and give us new content. Is that going to get dialed back to the same extent as what we saw from Zipline to Statue? DLCs will always meet a certain threshold of content to meet the criteria of the pre-established price tag, and they see a return of investment there. They are getting paid directly for their efforts. Free updates, on the other hand, are completely undefined. They can do as much or as little with that as they want. For previous free updates, I feel like Frontier has gone above and beyond to give us really good updates, but they are not obligated to maintain that. If the team is now so small that for the anniversary, the best they could do was produce a single statue, how is that going to reflect on the free update that accompanies the upcoming DLC? Is the effort put into that going to be slashed as well? Now, we don't know about the future. Maybe Jurassic World Evolution 2 is still their biggest earner at the bottom line, even after Universal takes its cuts, and this statue was maybe just a one-off thing, and we shouldn't be reading too much into it. I am definitely reading too much into it. Maybe they have a pre-existing contract with Universal to support the game until 2025, and they are committed to fulfilling that contract. We don't know. But I am more concerned for the game than I was before. Continued support for Jurassic World Evolution 2, or even a Jurassic World Evolution 3, seemed like two fairly obvious directions for the company to go in, based on the previous report of the game being their biggest game ever. But with a reduced workforce, is either of those still something Frontier could pull off while maintaining support for Planet Zoo, which seems to be their favorite child, as well as Planet Coaster 2, which is expected to be announced relatively soon? I'm a lot less optimistic about the future of this park builder now than I was a couple of weeks before. Although I don't want to paint this doomsday scenario, as I said, we don't know what the future of Jurassic World Evolution 2 is going to be. But we've been hypothesizing for a while that it's likely that support is winding down, and this statue is definitely a wake-up call and seems like a confirmation that that is indeed the direction it is going in. Again though, just to emphasize this, we don't know for sure. So now to address the big mistake that I think Frontier is making. And I'm not even sure they realize that it is a mistake that is potentially costing them money. The mistake being Frontier's lack of communication. We've been joking about this since the first game. We've been traumatized by this when the first game was silently discontinued. I think in the face of their financial struggles, they really need to reevaluate their approach to communicating with the fanbase, and that's what I want to get into for the rest of this video. Now, I'm not claiming that it would be the difference between financial ruin and ultimate success, and I'm coming at this with the perspective of an outsider who has no access to their data. I think Frontier's overlooking the significant goodwill and even monetary gain that could generate with more and better communication on their social media. That takes me to Wednesday and the thing that didn't happen that prompted me to do this video. Why not post a teaser the day before you drop something new to activate your fanbase and get them excited about what's to come? Or rather, in this case, set some appropriate expectations to cushion the disappointment. Frontier is wasting opportunities to communicate, to excite their fanbase, to create engagement on their socials, and to make it interesting for content creators to cover their game. For 3-month periods, Frontier's social media are dull, barren placeholders where all they do is share community screenshots as we just wait. We're just waiting for them to do something. Realistically, you don't even bother checking in on them for most of that time because you know there isn't going to be anything there. And every single time Frontier goes into reposting community screenshots mode, people start thinking, oh, this is it, the game is dead. While it has been premature so far, it is what happened with the first game. So how do I think they could fix this? Well, with something as little as posting a teaser the day before you are going to drop a free gift. Better yet though, drop surprise teasers weeks in advance. Get your player base speculating on what might be coming, because we all love a good mystery. Granted, this statue isn't the best example for that, because you can't tease a single statue weeks in advance. But if they had hinted at the statue before, maybe we would have gone into November 9th with adjusted expectations, and the backlash might have been less severe. Because whether you agree or not, a lot of people are really upset with Frontier over this gift and are already claiming in my comment section that they won't be buying the next DLC because they feel cheated. Again, agree or not with that reaction, that is the reaction of a significant amount of players. Meaning that at the worst possible time, Frontier might have cost themselves money by not communicating. Note that I am not advocating for them to have given us a bigger gift. Like I said at the start of this video, I accept that this was the best they could do at this time. I am not demanding a bigger gift. What I'm saying is they should have communicated beforehand. Now, letting your fanbase down easy is always a difficult thing to do, but that's something that skilled marketing people and skilled social media people, which they have on their team, would be able to achieve. I just want to make it clear that the solution that I'm talking about here is not, oh, they should have just given us a river cruise. The solution that I'm talking about is that they should have communicated. Generally speaking though, Frontier clusters all of their promotion for every release in a really small window before the launch of any given DLC or free update. I think they should spread it out more to build more hype, at least for those releases that are worth it. Sharing actual noteworthy posts on their social media makes it worthwhile for people to follow them directly because any day they can post something that is actually interesting, so they'd be boosting their own platforms. Frontier's trying pretty hard to promote their TikTok right now, for example, but they are overlooking the fact that beyond some cross-platform promotion, what they need to do is make it worthwhile for people to regularly check in on their social media. And unfortunately for them, while people follow TikTok accounts by the millions just to see a pretty girl do the same dance over and over, a company needs to do something a bit more substantial to draw the crowds. Right now, we know that we really only need to pop in once every 3 months. If they make it a habit to sprinkle in more teasers during those 3-month breaks, people are going to pay more attention, interact more with their posts, and actually be motivated to follow them on all their socials, because what if they miss a clue otherwise? How smart would it be to drop one clue on Twitter, one on Instagram, and one on TikTok, and with all 3 clues combined, someone might figure out, for example, one of the dinosaur species coming in the next pack. An actual reason to follow all their socials. It gets people talking, and it lets people know that no, the game is not dead. It feels like such a no-brainer. And on top of directly growing their own platforms, they also indirectly get growth through all of the content creators who will be analyzing these posts. Like, we make jokes about the fact that as soon as Frontier announces anything, there is an explosion of content as we all cover it. But it's with good reason. Be honest, this is what most people tune into. Actual news about the game, not the millionth park build. So of course we're all making content. 1, because we're all just as excited as everyone else. 2, because we want to share it with everyone and make sure that you're not gonna miss out on anything. And 3, yeah, bunny medication is expensive. I do need the views. It's just the reality. And let me take a moment to state here that people trying to make a living doesn't make them a villain. All of which is free advertisement. And what does free advertisement achieve? Sales. And what does Frontier need right now? Sales. Making videos advertises the game to the existing player base, hyping them up to buy the next DLC, and potentially new purchasers as well who can be persuaded to buy the base game because they keep seeing fun content for this game pop up on their feeds. I feel like Frontier is missing out on such an opportunity for creating goodwill with their customers, which is so important, and generating engagement and free advertisement by not just posting a vague little teaser every 2 weeks or every month. It can just be tiny crumbs that we collect over the 3-month period and then piece together and try to work out what the next DLC or free update will include. It would just be so fun. I think it would be really fun, like for a regular user, and it would be really fun to make content about, because you know I love making predictions. I don't understand why this isn't the route that they've gone. Am I overlooking something? Could this somehow be bad? I don't know, comment down below. Would you like something like this? Because I don't see the downside of it. Like, sure, maybe some people couldn't be bothered, but those people can just wait to be surprised after the 3 months are up. They don't have to play along with this DLC free update mystery. They don't have to watch the content creators do their speculations. But for the rest of us, it would be something to do to bridge the gaps. On a slightly different note, I might even suggest that instead of the big free updates that they've been doing, it might benefit them to bring the free content out in smaller chunks instead. That feels like a whole different discussion though. I hope that the people who are sadly being laid off will land on their feet. That is the most important thing of all of this. But I also hope that Jurassic World Evolution 2 will have a future beyond the next DLC. Which, again, we know for sure that there is at least one more DLC coming. That was my rant. If you're still here, thank you, and I'm sorry. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts on this entire issue. Do you think there is a long-term future for the game? Do you think Frontier should shake up their social media posts? What do you think they're gonna do with the free update, given the context of zipline to statue? I'd love to continue this discussion with you in the comments. Please do remember that Frontier is made up of people just doing whatever the bigwigs allow them, and I too am just trying to pay rent and bunny vet bills. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and until next time, enjoy the game.